Hello, Toolboxers. Welcome to episode 320 of the Immigration Lawyer's Toolbox. I'm feeling good. I'm back. And that's probably one of the best things I can say because it's been out of commission for a year and a half and not able to really do all the online stuff that y'all typically see me do. The cool thing is I had enough systems set up. We're on autopilot. We had a ton of content still coming out. But if it was me and at full energy, it'd be 10x what it is, which is the goal of getting back into that. And I try to plan out what this podcast is going to be and all this kind of discussions, but it was taking too long for me to do that. So I'm just going to freely talk and talk about things that are going on. So I guess one of the coolest thing that happened was the AILA conference. It was so much fun. That happened 2 weeks ago. Sorry to people who couldn't attend, but it's definitely worth going. It was kind of pricier this year, and I got to really complain about the hotel. I think it was terrible room for the price, especially. But overall, easy access to a humongous conference center, and Chicago was a really beautiful city. I was not expecting that. Um, LA does not look good in comparison. It came back kind of disappointing. But then again, it's kind of like a desert here, so I can understand why it's not as green as Chicago. But the conference was really good, and we got to meet so many people there that were, listeners and followers of the magazine, all this kind of stuff. So many people knew about the toolbox, didn't know it was me when I would talk about it, like, oh, that was you. So the reach of the program is really far and wide. I didn't at the conference. I didn't enter a single room unless I was speaking at that. I was speaking at two different things. And I just walked around the whole time. I lost a lot of weight. I lost like 5, 6 pounds just from walking around. And then also just being too busy to eat, I kept forgetting to eat lunch. But it was really cool just talking to dozens and dozens of people who know the program and listen, all that kind of stuff, and them expressing what effect this had on their practice and their lives. And it's kind of groundbreaking. I could say I've definitely by grace of God, have affected the field of immigration law to a point where like the whole new generation has been affected by the content created here. With all the colleagues that have come on and magazines that the articles they published and be able to put out, it literally is like uh, definitely conveniently is some word. I always lose words, but conviculous. I don't know. But anyways, 100%. That's like you just see. Not older attorneys do it too, but everyone like below 40 right now has been affected by listening to the podcast and has learned stuff from it, or from the magazine, or from the conferences and seminars and CLEs and all that kind of stuff. So change the face of America just by coming in and talking on a microphone. It's amazing you could do that. You used to need to have like a multi-million dollar system set up to be able to talk. Like Rush Limbaugh would have a AM radio station, but I can just do that from my little room right here, and it has a really monumental effect on U.S. immigration policy and practice. So it's pretty amazing. So that alone is a big thing to accomplish in life, and just I say that kind of to you guys do it too. Find out what your niche is and what you like to talk about and get involved. I mean, there's all these ideas. I want to have different podcasts on that are not even law related, but I don't want to spread myself too thin and then lose track of everything again. So where we go? We go next for the the toolbox. We're gonna just continue pumping out more content, and my goal is to have co-hosts come on. We've been talking with a lot of people about that, but I haven't had the time to set it up. So we'll have other people coming because one of the goals I have is to have this like a cable news network where there's always shows pretty much every day on different topics. And as you see, my podcast always skews more towards family-based, employment-based USCIS stuff as opposed to removal and court stuff. We have Kevin Gregg on and everything, but I can't interview a person that's doing removal defense properly because I don't know the challenges they face. So we're gonna have guests, co-hosts do that kind of material. And the goal is actually to do another conference, or I don't know what to call it. Conference kind of big, but behind the scenes, I got to talk with a couple other people who have followings in the immigration community. If you're interested in doing these conferences, just kind of reach out, email me info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. There's a couple people who emailed me. Actually, I got to go back for the last 6 months. I got to respond to. I'm sorry if I didn't respond, but to collect this information so we could put a blast out when we do it. AILA conference, as I talked at the beginning, is wonderful, but if we do it a little bit smaller and with more intent, I think it could be even more powerful for those that attend. It won't be for everybody, but for those that do attend, it'll be very special and groundbreaking. So we're going to set that up. I'll be following up about that. But one thing I had January 2023, I did a podcast outlining what the business plan was going to be for the business, and I'm just going to keep you updated on a quarterly basis. But essentially, all good plans go to. There's another saying for that too. But Mike Tyson has one that says everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and that's an easier one to say. So there was a lot of punching in the face that happened in 2023 and 2024, humbling, and just shows the reality of the fight, the struggle. No matter how high you are, you could always drop down. You could drop down, and you go up. And that's kind of how I felt with just the inability to do all the stuff I wanted to do and the pressures that brings financially and personally, everything like that. Especially when you have a thing where like the toolbox, which should be a cash cow, it's that the overhead is just so low. It should be massive amounts of revenue, but you still got to produce the material and have the teams ready. When you can't do that, it creates a lot of frustration. But we're back and doing it. But with regards to the law firm, my goal was, just to keep doubling, quadrupling, and 10xing the marketing. And I thought, okay, that's going to make us very well. But there's always a problem of like, okay, you get the cases, what are you going to do with it? And there's just even before you get the cases, the lead to sales process has to be fixed. And that was my biggest problem because everything was so low volume that I just did it manually. I'm just getting contracts out repeatedly, following up on leads, having a CRM, all this kind of stuff took much longer to establish. And then it goes to caseload, operations, team members, training, systems to keep track of things so they don't fall through the hoops, or why am I missing every word? It is 5:30 a.m. right now where I'm recording this. So I've gone back to waking up early. I've been up since like 3:30 working, but that might be the reason my brain is skipping a beat right now. But um, this is such an important focus for those who are going into your own practice. And if you work for another practice, kind of making it better. How do the marketing stuff I could do, but I get bogged down in the other parts of it from, the sales aspect and the admin and operations aspect. I thought I was enjoying learning that stuff. The more I did it, the more I realized I'm not fully an entrepreneur. I'm more of a marketer, seems. I like to do videos and talk about the process. And in particular, I like talking about immigration law because I love practice of immigration law. And I don't as much love practice of it anymore in a sense of dealing with the agencies at all. But I just love how it all comes together and talking about it and teaching about it. So I got to go to my strong points and find people I can help with the others. But finding help is hard too. I had one person I hired to help. I spent a lot of money on it and they disappeared. And I don't think they did what they needed to do properly. But, these things happen and it costs you money. It costs you more delays and everything like that. And it's not all on them. It was on me not doing my parts of it as well. But these are the difficulties you experience in the business world. And it really hits you when things are going smooth and just smooth growth is happening. You think nothing can stop you. But then the reality hits of just how everything moves and stuff like that. But you learn a lot, and one of the biggest things is just to cut off things that are not going to go to the primary goal. And sometimes you want to do these side things that are very helpful, but you're not able to get into it because you just have too many priorities that are a different direction. Life is all about making decisions. That's opportunity cost and saying, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to stick with it and not get depressed about it. I didn't do this, do that. Just make a decision and go with it because you just don't have the time or ability or resources to do all the things we want to do. So you got to focus on and double down the ones that are important. I doubled down on JK Law as opposed to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, thinking JQK Law already has a lot of revenue and systems, so that's the thing to go. But now in hindsight, Toolbox is more of a risk because it's a startup, but with the amount, again, the lower overhead and the ease of getting, sponsorships and selling courses, all this kind of stuff, it actually would have been the wiser thing now 2 years down looking at it. So sometimes what seems to be more riskier, probably usually a lot of the times, what's more riskier is probably less risky because the law firm kind of bogged me down. The expense of running a law firm are high. I still enjoy doing it. I'm going to continue doing it because it's like, if anything, it's a feeder system of knowledge and education about the immigration space. So I could use that for Toolbox for training purposes as we develop the courses. And we have so many friends who want to participate and help the Toolbox too. So it's a lot of opportunities there, but probably going to keep both going. But the expansion plans for the law firm are definitely going to be scaled back. So I was kind of asking yourself, why are you expanding? What are the goals? And partially it's like if it's purely monetary goals, it's usually not a good goal. It's like what is number one, and then okay, number two could be monetary. What's number one? An expansion of law firm. Partially it was because I didn't want to do the casework, which is because I began to too old to do the day to day of like, reviewing the passport, make sure the birth certificate dates are correct. Paralegals do this with double checking it. Mine just are more strategy as opposed to day to day operations with the client. So that part made sense. But then a certain amount of growth was like, okay, if I get here, I can have this much money, I can have this much fun with that money, all that kind of stuff. And that's not a goal, a good viable goal, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people tell you have these milestones of money, all this kind of stuff, but I just, for my own sake, I found that not to be the case. Always having a higher goal in mind is always really important, a higher value in mind. So that's what's been going on with JK Law, my law firm, in the toolbox. Please do reach out if you have content ideas, if you want to write an article, all this kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do it, maybe not, but reach out so we know what the audience is looking for and what stuff we can do, because we really want to take it to the next level. It seems like the president's going to be changing, and so we know what kind of insanity is coming in the next 6 months. So we have to prep for that and have systems built for continuing education, resources, mental health, really just a place where I come here and talk about the difficulties. People like hearing that because they're going the same things, and you're not alone. Especially because immigration lawyers practice in such small groups or are solos. Having like venting, and I don't want to be negative venting, but like knowing that someone else is going through the same kind of stuff, it helps a lot to know you're not alone. I was interviewing the last podcast with a great one of the best attorneys, Natalia Poluktin, and then she was talking about how long it took her tech to happen to develop her tech stack and for her office operations. And I spent like 6 months, like 40 hours a week working on this. And it's like, it's still pretty, I wouldn't use bad words, but not to the extent that I want it to be. And that's frustrating. But hearing her say it took years, it like was a relief. I'm like, okay, this isn't something, because you see people online, you know how it is. And people might look at me, I'm like, wow, this guy's got a podcast too. It's like, dude, this stuff is hard. And it's like, it, I, it is hard, and I don't do it the way I want to or like the level it should. And don't feel bad if you're necessarily doing it. We all get bogged down in these things. Sometimes it takes time. And one thing I always was never into is try to like create this perception of like success, just to like Instagram. Instagram has got beautiful photos and stuff. I was never into that. It's just kind of gross to me to just have this like, oh, I'm on vacation, always this and that. It's like, okay, want to be more real about it, because the goal at the end of the day of this stuff is to help people just grow and become better at themselves. Because then what we do is help other people better, and we raise our families better, and creates just a more like peaceful atmosphere for everybody to grow. And the immigration space has always been really good for that, because immigration lawyers don't have that sense that other lawyers do that are fighting each other in other fields. But that's always been just keeping it real kind of thing. And it comes across, it's what you hear me right now is how I talk in person. I just might use like less good language, if you will. But that's about it. So long short of it is we're back. I'm going to keep it going, and because I love doing this stuff, and the audience is there. Obviously, at the AILA conference, 40 people coming to me I never met before, and saying they love the work is amazing. And so we're going to continue doing it. Just reach out. Having that connection with the audience is really good, and hopefully I can learn from y'all how to make better systems, and to get our newsletters out, for example, or just what you guys do and this and that, just to learn from everybody, share it, so we can be more effective people in what we do in our business and help more people on a much grander scale. And that's really what it comes out to. The more you help to, the more financially it comes in the back end. So we know that's going to happen. So just how can we help people more, whether it's business to consumer or business to business, to help them become better at their lives and do what they do, so we could get better at what we do. That's the long and short of it. Email is info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasravi, and I just realized I have the wrong branding on this podcast video. Let me change it up right now really quick for those watching the video. Oops. And I can have my editing team fix it. One of the things I've done is to avoid delaying getting content out. I just record it like live on my computer and then post it. And I use a software called StreamYard, which allows me to have my name and logo on the side. I'm not sure if it's worth the price for what it is, because there's probably better ones, but it's got stuck with this one essentially. But now the logo was wrong the whole time. Do I feel like putting the logo and having edited? Probably not. We'll just let it go. So, so I was going to confuse people watching this. That's like, what's going on? There's two different logos. So whatever. It's not a big deal. Sorry to say that all loud for you to hear it. But that's just, again, the behind the scenes mess ups that happen that we learn from. All right. Until next one, have a good one. Bye-bye.